Hi, everybody. It's Electra, artist visa lawyer here in New York. And today we are going to talk about collaboration. And I want to preface collaboration by saying it's going to be collaboration with a big C. And this is inspired by something that I did today. Today, there was a lawyer that decided that she wanted to have a discussion about certain practices that work for her business. And I attended the discussion. I thought, how great is it that she has decided to collaborate and share information about the best practices for her law firm? And then I got a message from somebody on Instagram about issues with his current attorney, the fact that the attorney is not communicating with him, and there's no collaboration between this attorney and this client. And then I was thinking about today how we are working on a super rush case, and there was so much collaboration between me and the client. And I was just thinking today about how important it is to collaborate in your professional life, in your artistic life, and of course, for your visa. So I don't need to preface this by saying that the visa is probably one of the most important things that's going to happen to you in your life, because the visa is something that allows you to develop your career and to develop your livelihood, right? If you cannot work legally, then presumably you can't work. You need to have work authorization to be able to work legally, which means you need to file a case. Because the O1 is a very complex visa, you want to make sure that you're working with an attorney and collaborating with an attorney that is able to hear you, understand you, and try to execute a plan. So, first, let's talk about collaborating within your career and what that actually means within your career and for the artist visa. Just like this attorney collaborated today with other attorneys to share best practices. So, basically, if you are, let's say you are a person um, and you're kind of stuck. Right? There's not a lot of things that you're working on in your career. There's not many projects that you're getting booked for, and you're just generally not working. Of course, that's terrible for your life, but that's also terrible for the visa or any visa because you don't have material for the attorney to work with. So, what is the best way to be able to be entrepreneurial with your career? Now, hopefully, if you went to university or if you're living somewhere, hopefully you have connections with other people. And those connections with other people, whether you're in your industry or not, allow you to collaborate and create some sort of project, create some sort of, could even be like a joint article that you guys write together to be able to produce some sort of work. So this is why collaborating is actually really, really important, but also really nuanced, because again, this is a way for you to generate projects for yourself, to generate achievements and accomplishments for yourself that you could eventually use, obviously, for your career, but also for your O1, also for your visa. If there is no material to be used, then there's no legal arguments that can be created. And again, I want to preface this by saying you want to collaborate, you want to do work, you don't want to self screen and say, oh, I'm not going to do this project because this project is not going to be good for me, or this project is not really going to help my career. That's really not the right approach that you should have. You should be in the frame of mind of saying, yes, let me do this. Yes, let me do that. Yes, let me collaborate with the big C so that I can generate this work so the attorney can analyze and see if it is something that rises to the legal standard for the O1. So, what are some things that you can do to collaborate with others within your field to be able to generate achievements and accomplishments for yourself? So, as I said, you can write a joint article. What does this mean? This means that you and the other person are writing an article that you can publish on your website. He or she or the person you're collaborating with can publish it on his website or her website. And then you could eventually publish this on your LinkedIn. You can also publish this on medium.com, and boom, right there, you're a published writer. This is a really great accomplishment and great achievement because it positions you as a thought leader. Another form of collaboration could be literally doing a joint live with somebody. I've done these multiple times where I sometimes interview artists, sometimes interview attorneys, and I have joint videos where I and other people, attorneys or artists, we are having a conversation. We are collaborating via video. And this is also great because the achievement or the result of that collaboration could be increased views, can be numbers, and also can be something that you can publish on your website. Could be a reel, it could be anything. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be a talk. If you are an actor, for example, you can draft a skit together, draft a skit or draft a script or something, and actually perform that live. There are many different ways to utilize video platforms to be able to collaborate and generate achievements. Because remember, your goal is to create something that can ultimately be utilized for your petition and obviously for your CV. If you are not generating, if you don't have projects and there's nothing on your CV, there's no reason for somebody to call you back because you're not interesting, number one. And number two, it shows that you don't really have much to contribute to the company or the organization. Another way to collaborate is to volunteer. Now, a lot of the times clients will make mistakes and say, oh no, this is unpaid work. I can't use this. There's no law that says that the work that you do must be paid work in order for it to be valid for the O1. There's no rule, there's no law. You could have all unpaid work, and I have worked on many, many cases where my clients do not have paid work and we win the case. So you do not need to have paid work to have a professional achievement or professional accomplishment. I'm sure you guys have heard the stories of actors and directors who've done work for very little money or free to be able to secure that achievement. So, for example, what is that guy's name? Jonah Hill. Anyway, the guy in Wolf on Wall Street, not Leonardo DiCaprio, the other actor, he took a massive pay cut. I think he only made like 60 grand for that film, but he did it in order to work with Martin Scorsese. Or, for example, Rocky. I'm sure you guys have heard of the film Rocky and Sylvester Stallone. I think he only got paid like $1,000 to sell his script. Again, very little money, but doesn't mean anything in terms of a legal analysis. It resulted in a huge professional achievement for both these examples. The same thing with clients. So let's say, for example, you're at home, twiddling your thumbs or something. You're not sure how to collaborate with the big C. Call up an organization or or research different organizations for which have a cause that you believe in and ask if you can volunteer. This aspect of volunteering your time is directly linked to EB1A, how to make an impact in your field. And I analyze impact in three different ways. The way I analyze it, it's not written within the federal regulations. It is just my analysis and strategy that I apply. So I'll do another video and I'll talk about the three different ways I measure impact. But again, collaborating professionally, whether you're writing a joint article, whether you're doing a joint video, whether you're volunteering, whether you are renting your own black box theater and putting on your own show, whether you're writing your own song and putting it on Spotify. Again, all can be potential achievements, but you need to actually collaborate with somebody, do it so that it's out in the world and it actually exists beyond your head and your heart. This is what I mean about professional collaborations. There's always ways to do something. You just have to be entrepreneurial. That's why I say that the O1 visa is actually really, legally it is a super complex visa, but there's a lot of things that you can do to really architect your career and architect the achievements to be utilized. So we have a comment on Instagram from Kate PRV. Do all of future contracts have to be paid, or can some also be unpaid volunteer? This is so the short answer is yes, they must be paid. The longer answer is it depends on what you're doing and what you're doing it for. Now, an example to illustrate this is, what if you have things on your itinerary that are unpaid? Is that okay? Yes, because it's counted as extra work. What if you have international work? So work that is not done on US soil. Can that be included within your itinerary? Absolutely. That's a strategic decision to prove to USCIS that you are in demand, that you're doing a lot of different work. But for the work that is in the US, you have to earn income for the initial petition. And I'll tell you what the legal reasoning is for that. The legal reasoning for that is they don't want you to become a public charge. You might have all the money in the world to support yourself. Let's say you're independently wealthy, your parents are paying for you, you own a bunch of property. It doesn't matter. They're looking to see that the source of the money that you are utilizing to support yourself is being sourced through actual work that is included within the petition. They don't want you to become a public charge. And most importantly, remember that the immigration forms is a contract between the petitioner and the government. So by not including paid work, number one, you're not rising to the level of the federal regulation, so you're definitely going to get an RFE. And number two, you're putting the petitioner in a compromising position because it's the petitioner that's engaging in a contract with the government. That's what the immigration forms are. So the short answer is yes, you need paid work, and the long answer is not necessarily all the time, because it depends on why you're including unpaid work within your itinerary. So again, more of a strategic decision that is made between, you and the attorney. So collaboration with a big C, collaborating professionally, creating opportunities for yourself, creating synergy for yourself and between yourself and others to generate achievements for the attorney to analyze and see whether it's worth it. Do not self-screen. It's the biggest mistake that you can make because you do not have the knowledge, the experience of legal trends and of legal analysis, and most importantly, of the officer's mentality. So you might end up self-screening and removing information that the attorney can find valuable. I gave the example the other day of a client who was like, yeah, I'm really scared about the O1, but yeah, I've excavated some of the most important archaeological sites in Europe. Don't self-screen. I mean, it came because I prodded and I asked questions, but this was something that she did not include in her CV. So make sure that you don't self-screen. Now, collaborating with your attorney. You really, really want to not be in the position of this person who sent me a message today who's like, I paid all this money to the attorney. The attorney is not answering my messages. The attorney is not looking at my portfolio. Can you look at my portfolio? Can you look at the attorney cover letter? Now, the answer to that is no, I cannot look at the legal brief, because if I look at someone else's legal brief and I give legal suggestions, I by law need to indicate to USCIS that I am the attorney of record, and this means that we need to engage in an attorney-client relationship, and we can't do that if you already have an attorney. But more importantly than that, it's you really don't want to spend all of this money, all of this time, because remember, with the O1, you are mobilizing different players. You're mobilizing future employers. You're mobilizing your petitioner. You're mobilizing the signers for your testimonials letter. You're doing a lot of work, a lot of strategy, and you don't want to pay somebody and then end up coming to me, for example, and saying, hey, Electra, can you review this during a strategy session? I'm very limited in what I can do in a strategy session if you're represented by counsel. And number two, it's kind of like not giving yourself the best effort at your O1. So make sure that you're working with an attorney that you can collaborate with, because this is your life. Think of the potential earning power that you will have once you get your visa. Let's say, this is just an example. I'm very bad in math. That's why I became a lawyer. But this is just an example. Let's say the O1 costs like $1,000, right? $1,000 with an attorney. Now divide that $1,000 into 3 years of working in the US. And as you know, the US is much more open to entrepreneurship and earning income and working throughout your career, more so than a lot of other countries. I know this because I know the law, and I know this because I actually worked abroad in multiple different countries. So the earning power that you have in the US is unlimited compared to the earning power that you have in other countries. So take that fee that you're paying, that $500 that you're paying for the O1, divide that between 3 years and see how much the O1 actually really costs, or any other visa actually really costs. This should be your mentality when you are interviewing attorneys. Okay, this attorney is asking for $500 for the O1. It's just an example. $500. The O1 gives me 3 years to work in the US. What is my potential earning power in the US? Am I going to be making more than 500 divided by 3 is what? Like 125? I'm really bad in math. So I'm paying essentially $125 per year to be able to earn, as you guys know, in the US, unlimited earning power. So don't go with an attorney who's not going to answer your phone calls. You are not doing yourself justice because it's a complex route. The routes in the US for visas, forget the O1, all types of visas are complex. You want to make sure that the person that you're going to be working with for the next 3 months, 6 months, year, or whatever it is answering your emails. So that big C for collaboration, it extends also to the attorney that you're working with. You don't want to pay somebody and then have to go and get a second, third opinion because you're unsatisfied with the initial choice that you made. It is 2023. There's videos, there's Google reviews. If you're making, it's like going to a plastic surgeon and saying like, hey, I'm going to go to the cheapest plastic surgeon. This is your body. This is your life. You want to make sure that you're not shortchanging yourself, right? That's would be my approach. And that is my approach when I have to hire an attorney. And number 3, once you've actually engaged in an attorney-client relationship, you want to really collaborate. You really want to understand what the legal strategy is. And I'll show you why this is important. So this is a petition that I'm working on. It's actually in its final steps. You can see like my Post-its, and these are like my notes. But we are filing multiple cases daily because, as I said, the last quarter is coming. People want to be here and people want to work in the US. Why? Remember, always think about your potential earning power in America. It's unlimited, which is why people want to work here. Now, this is a petition of this is an O1B. This is somebody who's actually quite famous in her field, a model / influencer who I am filing as a performer as well. So this person is going to be filed as a performer and as a model. And many times I get asked the question, but is it possible? Yes, absolutely. I do it all the time. I call it double barreling. I argue effectively both petitions within one. It's absolutely possible if I have the evidentiary support, right? And I can even do it, and I have done it successfully for opposing professions. So somebody who's, I did one for someone who wanted to be a performer, so be an actor, and also be a photographer. I was able to create this very niche area called performative photography. I did a lot of research. It's a very interesting case. Now, this is somebody who's famous. This is somebody who has probably maybe 10, 15 years of experience of never working in the US, never has stepped foot in the US. This is all work that she has done in Europe and in Dubai. This top part is like the immigration forms, the contracts. I will show you, hold on one second. I will show you how big the actual portfolio is. Sorry. This is the portfolio. So this is all, I'm sorry, I'm on a rolling chair, so I'm moving a lot. This is all the work that she has done. Someone said, good evening. Hi, good evening, Christian. Thank you for dropping by. This is lead and critical role. These are my title sheets. And this is what a case looks like. So when I do portfolio reviews, I think last time I talked about a portfolio review, like if you're giving me like 50 pages, you know that you're not on a good track. It's not about quantity. I'm not saying that like 100 pages is going to get you approved. It's really about quality of presentation. And when things are sounded out, I call it sounding out, just like when you learn how to read, right? When you're learning how to read, you're sounding out the letters of the words. You're articulating every letter of the word to make sure that you're understanding how to pronounce it correctly, because that word is foreign to you. The same process for an officer. I'm articulating your story because your story is foreign to the officer. Not only is your story foreign to the officer, but the law and legal analysis is not their forte. They're not lawyers. If they were lawyers, it would be a different story, but they're not. Okay. They're people who are who do like rudimentary training. And not to say that they're bad people, because they're not. It's just that the extent of their knowledge and the expansiveness of their legal analysis is just not going to be there, because they're not lawyers and that's not their fault. So we're working like against, how do you call it? Like we're walking up a hill. It's like an uphill battle. That's the term. So this is a portfolio. This is somebody, and I did this portfolio. We have the option of doing the portfolio with client, but of course for the client, but of course, all collaborating with clients, collaborating, emailing, strategy, figuring out what the story is, figuring out how can I articulate, how can I sound out what makes you unique and special. This takes work. And that is the O1. Don't be afraid of work, because the benefits are enormous, right? Think of your potential earning power. Think of the freedom that this visa gives you, because you can work on behalf of different employers, projects, people, international companies, etc. And this is the top half. So this is the biographical data. This is, I'll try to show you. I don't know if you guys can see like the thickness of this. Immigration forms, biographical data, contracts, press, etc. It is extensive. So if this is a famous person, right? Famous, Cannes Film Festival, billboards, etc., then just think about somebody who might not have billboards, somebody who might not have attended Cannes, somebody who's not a verified influencer. Think about that. This is why you have to really think about, like the mentality of I am the master of my own destiny. I can really architect the type of achievements that I garner within my career, and then work with somebody who can articulate them. So you said that you have some questions, Christian. Feel free to ask questions. I've been answering questions throughout the live. So it's I can answer a question if you have it. So again, the theme of today was collaboration. You want to collaborate with your peers within your profession. You want to create opportunities for yourself. If you're the type of person who doesn't really have a fully developed CV, whatever that may mean to you, then think about collaborating with a big C, creating opportunities for yourself, being entrepreneurial. One way to create opportunities for yourself is to write joint articles, do joint lives, create projects with somebody, volunteer in an organization. Those are different things that you can do to collaborate with somebody. Collaborate with the attorney. This is a twofold step. So collaborating with the attorney means choosing an attorney that is actually going to work with you and what your exigencies are, so that you don't need to get a second and third opinion from other attorneys because you're unsatisfied with your initial choice. That should be fairly obvious, because again, this is your life. And the third way to collaborate is to really make sure that you are that the legal arguments being utilized reflect your career, that the legal arguments that are being utilized you are aware of, and to make sure that you know what's going on every step of the case. So just so you know, New York State licensed attorneys, I'm a New York State attorney. I'm from New York, but my office is also in New York. The legal work doesn't belong to the attorney. So as soon as I create the legal work, it belongs to you, the client. And in our firm, we are very transparent about everything. We have a client portal, so all documents are uploaded there for you to see. They're also emailed to you. So these are things that I take extremely seriously. So the Christian asked a question. I'm a minister of God, meaning Jesus Christ. Great. What should I do to get a religious visa, please? So I can't give you the steps on what to do to get an R visa, but there are R visas, religious visas, for people who work in any sort of capacity in any sort of religious institution. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you need to be a minister to qualify for the R visa. It means that you need to be working in a religious institution. And what's interesting about the R visa, different from the O visa, is that the R visa leads to a green card. The O1 does does not lead to a green card, meaning that if you don't qualify for the EB-1A, which is usually the next step if you qualify, then you can't file for the EB-1A because it's a really hard legal standard. So the R visa actually leads to a green card. It's a green card path. Now, the R visa is also really interesting for creatives because if you are a musician in a church, you could potentially qualify for the R visa. If you are a singer or an organist, I've done organist EB-1As, you can qualify for an R visa. So there are different sorts of creative professions, even within an ecclesiastic set or a religious setting, that would qualify for the R visa. But I can give a little bit more information specifically about the R visa at a different time. I like R visas. I do them as well, but my favorite visa is the O1, is the P1, the P3, everything that has to do with the arts. Because if you don't know yet, I have a film degree. I worked in film and TV before I became a lawyer. So I really, really love the arts. And I am a true patron of the arts. So I hope that this was helpful. This is supposed to be a video to encourage you to see the word collaboration with a big C, a capital C, collaborate within your industry, collaborate with your attorney, and collaborate for a successful result, because you don't want to shortchange yourself and you don't want to self-screen because you are not going to see what a licensed, experienced attorney can see within your case. So thank you so much for watching. I know that I've been doing lives a little bit late, but I'm a night owl and I tend to work best at night. So I will try to get live tomorrow during the day so that I can capture, different sorts of people and different folks who are listening instead of just the night people like me. But I hope that this was helpful. I gave you a visual of what an O1 case is that I'm working on. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry, guys. This is the final. Oops. This is the final case. Today I filed a photographer OPT. She was on her OPT, change of status from student to O1. And this was a 2-week rush case. So we filed her case within 2 weeks. So we do those as well. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I love talking about these topics and I love talking about the business of the arts. If you have specific questions, even if it's not on the O1 visa, but it's more about, like, for example, marketing or business for the arts, I'm happy to answer them. And if you go back to my previous videos on YouTube, I have lots of videos about the business of the arts, different sorts of contracts to utilize to protect yourself when you're engaging in artistic collaborations, different ways of approaching your career and open-mindedness when it comes to engaging in different artistic projects. So go ahead, subscribe, like, share. I think this is valuable information. If you're still not sure that it's valuable information, go and look at my articles so that you have kind of like a written guide, or email me for my written ebooks so that I can give them to you so it can be helpful for your career. So it was nice seeing everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow. I will try to be live a little bit earlier during the day. Bye, everybody.